I felt like I was like a fish out of water. I didn't know anybody. If you asked me anything about me and someone would be like, oh no, you can't do that. I was like, I definitely can. That's how much I believed in myself, is that I can do anything. People don't invest in your business plan. They invest in people. They don't have the confidence in you that you are the one that can achieve it. It's risky.
What is the high performance mindset?
High performance mindset.
Nadia Shah is the founder and CEO of Drip Burger. In this episode, we went through her childhood. What was it like living a humble life and also living a lavish life at the same time? Her exposures to business through her father at an earlier age, and then what was her journey like when she started her own businesses? All right, before we kick off with this episode, if you can do me this small favor and subscribe to this channel, I'll truly appreciate it, and it'll help me bring you more and more high performers to this show. This is the High Performance Mindset, and today's guest is Nadia Shah. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the show, Nadia.
Thank you.
You lived a lavish lifestyle growing up, as well as a humble one.
Definitely.
Yeah? Can you tell me about it?
Like perspective on the two would be growing up in Ireland and having house help, which nobody has because it's a Western country and it's very expensive. So we did have house help, which is quite surprising. And we had a driver, we had somebody in the house. And at the same time as living with my dad with that help, I also lived with my mom in a council house in a very bad estate where we had no heating. And like Ireland, freezing cold, no heating.
So what you used to do?
Huh?
Like
it was crazy.
Or what?
We actually, I used to light a fire. There was 2 fireplaces in the house, one in the kitchen, one in the living room. It's supposed to heat up the whole house. We had electric blankets to sleep at night.
What is it, like a chimney or?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, like a fireplace, and it has a chimney to go up the whole way. Yeah. So it was freezing. Like I was too embarrassed to invite anyone over to sleep because it would be too cold for them. Because my friends were like, I don't think anyone lived that poor from my schools. So to invite them over would mean I invited one friend over, and she froze for the night. I felt so bad. I was like, I'm never doing that again. And like our neighbors were like, really uncivilized, I would say. Blowing up cars in your pathway, throwing sofas over the door, like kind of crazy stuff happening across the road. Yeah, not a good area.
Throwing sofas?
Yeah. So like it's a council estate, like it's a bad neighborhood. And so your neighbors are also from the same kind of environment. I wouldn't say we belonged, we were definitely different, but like left and right on each side of our house, the neighbors were not the best. At one point we had nice neighbors, and slowly like not even more, I would say, unstable households like moved in.
What was the nice neighbor like, and what was the not so nice neighbor like?
The nice neighbors were like one of my friends there. She was a daughter of 2 white parents, but she was black. It just happened that somehow she came out as a black baby. They even did like genetic testing to make sure they were the parents, but they basically disowned her. And so she didn't have much of a way to grow up. So she was supported by the government. So she didn't have like the same financial support and upbringing. So she went through like foster homes and foster care, and eventually just ends up in the government system. So she ended up there. She was a nice neighbor with a difficult upbringing, and she was absolutely lovely. But then bad neighbors would be someone who was troubled, maybe an alcoholic, a woman, a mom with 3 kids having a difficult life. Kids are tortured because they've had such an unstable upbringing. Also, she's gone through the system, doesn't have money. And so the kids are acting out, and the boyfriends that come along are abusive and that kind of thing. So, like some of the kids would come out and destroy our car when they're angry because something's happening next door, and you can hear it through the walls and can hear all kinds of crazy shouting and stuff. So yeah, not a nice neighborhood.
So
literally what you see on TV.
Yeah. So and then you go growing up, like you're going through this
Yeah.
wild mix, and
Yeah.
then what, on the weekend you go to your dad's side, or
Like
how
sometimes
often
it chopped
was the
and changed
switch?
depending on my parents' like timetables. My dad is a single dad, you know, he's an entrepreneur. Yeah, he has work to take care of, but then he has us. And then my mom has like 3 jobs. Basically, when they separated, she didn't want to take anything from my dad. She wanted to do it for herself. I think that's kind of why I have that mentality as well. But so yeah, so it was crazy to see both sides, but it opens you up to a lot more, keeps you a lot more grounded. I wouldn't say my mom did a great job of not allowing it to affect our lives. Like, we didn't have influence from people around. We didn't engage with our neighbors that were like that. We just kept to ourselves, you know, you do what you need to do. And so we still attended like the same schools. We had different types of friends. We lived there. And then whenever my mom needed to work or whatever, if we didn't want to stay at home or we wanted to go to my dad, we'll go to my dad's. If my dad was traveling for work, then maybe we'll be at my mom's. Often it would be like maybe a few days of the week in my mom's, and then the weekends with my dad. It really just depended on their timetable. So it was like chopping and changing. There was never like a really set rule of how it worked. They just shared, and we were also free to go and come wherever we wanted and however it suited us.
And like, what would your day look like after school as a child?
Depends which house you're going to, but yeah. As a child, I would say in those years when we were living in that area, go to school, get picked up if my dad's picking us up. It would be, we didn't wear uniforms. We went to like a German school, and we finished earlier than most schools, which was cool. So we'd go home, maybe we'd stop by the mosque, which was really close to us.
You went to a German school? Yeah. Was that like
it was
your parents' idea, or like whose idea was that?
Actually, by accident. So there was only really one Muslim school and mosque in Ireland at the time when we were first there. Like, we're like the OG community of Ireland and the Islamic Cultural Center. So the very first school that was ever there used to be a church, and then the imam came and it was converted, and we were in the first ever school, Muslim school.
And this is, what age are we talking about?
I was there from the first class, like maybe 5 years old.
Okay.
And then I think it's actually
this is in
Sheikh
Dublin.
Khalifa, I think, who built our mosque, a new mosque, a bigger mosque, Islamic Cultural Center. So when that school was built, the school that we were in was like a kind of a temporary setup anyway. We moved to that new mosque and new location. And then that was around the corner from the German school and also like another campus. So when we finished up till grade 12 or 6th class, we had to make a choice of what school we wanted to attend. And the options were like all Irish girls' schools, which are like Catholic, or a mixed school, which is kind of...
German.
Yeah, it was German, but not all taught in German, but like different mentality and also private. So better education over some of the public schools. So yeah, that's how we ended up there, because it was so close, because my sister was 1 year ahead, my brother was 1 year below. So while we attended the Muslim National School, my sister could go around the corner to the secondary school and start. That was the intention.
So you speak German, or?
I do, but I have a different... I swapped and changed a few schools compared to my siblings. So my sister stayed in the German school. She speaks fluent German. She even studied in Germany. I stayed there for 3 years and then decided to go live with my mom in a country school after she moved from the council area to the countryside. So when she left, I decided to live with her. So I stayed like for 3 to 4 years in the countryside.
So, and that's when you used to, cycle about an hour?
Yeah. Oh, you remember the story? Yeah, exactly. I would cycle an hour to school. So...
so this is what age?
I think 15, 16. Yeah, from...
Okay.
I guess over here, that's year 10 onwards. 10, 11, 12. Yeah. So
I'm pretty much already grown, like...
Yeah. I can do... I mean, I was very independent anyway, so completely capable of doing everything by myself. So we were taught a lot of independence from our mom. to make sure that we were able to do everything.
Going back again,
Sure.
what did after school look like?
So get picked
As a
up, go to
child.
the mosque, maybe grab some food on the way home. If we didn't stop at the mosque, we'll stop at a local chipper, or because it was a very long journey home from where our school was to where we lived. So like maybe 50-minute drive with Irish traffic, and then eat, make our own food, or, you know, like just take like a frozen pizza out or any frozen items and like make it ourselves, or the fryer, turn on the fryer and throw in the frozen things. And then homework. My dad's doing his own thing. And then when everyone's done, dinner together, and then bed.
And when you're on your mom's side, was it the same thing when you come back after school?
No, because she wasn't able to pick us up. I think there was a while she didn't have a car. I think even when she had a car, I don't know why, but I don't remember being picked up. So I think we did buses. So from our secondary school, we would have to get like 2 buses to get home. And that was a long journey. And if it was in the winter, sometimes the buses weren't working because the buses were working, but the area, there was a lot of like vandalism. So the buses wouldn't drive all the way down to our space. So then we'd have to stop and then walk all the way home. I'm serious. Yeah, like there's some crazy stuff that happened. Yeah.
So the bus driver's like, mm-mm.
Yeah, because if they drove, like let's say it's winter, it's like pretty much snowing out as well. It gets dark at like 4:30. You're getting home way after that. And then you come into the area, the buses stop going because every time they come into the area, a load of the guys just come and they get like bottles, rocks, and just throw it, smashing windows, and it's not safe. So the buses would stop like 2 kilometers before, and then you have to walk that extra bit.
So, and then when you were a teenager, that's when you went to a German vocational school.
Yeah.
So that's the same school that you were talking about?
Yeah, that's the German school.
Okay.
German vocational school.
Okay, so
in short, like I would say my parents divorced when I was 7. I was still in the Muslim National School, and then they would pick us up and drop us. Like most of the time I remember my dad was always dropping us. My mom lived not too far from my dad at that age. And then eventually she moved to the other area, and we were still transitioning between the Muslim school and then the next age group. So it would be buses from my mom, or sometimes a school bus to the Muslim school, because there was a school bus for the Muslim school. And then if I was going to the German school, we'd just walk around the corner from there. Otherwise, if you're coming from my dad's, driving, and then went to the German school as a teen. And then I went to the 2 different schools in the countryside. One was a Catholic school, and another one was also a Catholic school, but one where I can't remember what it's called now. I think I've lost so much of my Irishness, but where you stay for like, you live there. What is that called?
is it like a boarding school?
Boarding school. I don't know why I can't remember. But yeah, a boarding school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all right, so what is it like in a vocational school?
It's cool.
In comparison with
I mean, Germans are different. So school doesn't start at 9 a.m. School starts at 8:30. School doesn't finish at 4. It finishes at 3:30. So over there, most schools were 9 to 4. We were 8:30 to 3:30.
That was nice.
Yeah. Start earlier, skip the traffic. Fridays, half day, which was really cool. No uniform. No one ever had no uniform. That was really cool.
Oh.
Huge mix of different people from all over Ireland in the school. A lot of people had like some German connection. There were not too many that were completely outside of like German. Maybe like their dad was German, or sometimes both parents, or like some kind of mix like that.
Well, there's a big German community
Not
in Ireland?
huge, but there was a bit. Yeah, I mean, Europeans, yeah, can be. They set up for so many different reasons. Irish parents, and then a German parent, and also... and then because it was a private school, like we had a lot of really good teachers and really good facilities, and honestly, I think like really good education. They're very open-minded, very forward-thinking. And yeah, that was a very good school. I enjoyed it.
What is it called? Your mom is British, but you guys moved to Dublin.
Dublin, yeah.
Yeah, why?
So my mom and my dad met in England. And then once they met, my dad, I said, as an entrepreneur, he saw an opportunity in Ireland to do some business there. Yeah, so he tested it out, moved over. I think he originally started like a women's clothing company, and then he started restaurants. And as soon as he did that, then things just went on from there. And my mom, anytime she wanted to give birth, would always go back to London to have us, because I think at that time they still weren't sure. They'd definitely stay there, and she felt the British passport was better. But then they both stayed there for the rest of, apart from my dad who came here. That's why I'm here.
So
Ireland is still home.
Yeah. I mean, you grew up.
I spent 26 years there, and I came here like 10 years ago. My dad moved here 20 years ago, but he's currently now back in Ireland, and Ireland has always been a home and a base. So even though my dad's been here for 20 years, a lot of our family, because my dad is kind of like the leader of his siblings, and everyone moved from Pakistan to Ireland, so all of our family are there, including my grandmother who's buried there, and like we would consider Ireland still home. Yeah.
You remember what you wanted to become as a child? Usually just keeps changing every time, but maybe as a teenager it becomes a little bit more clear.
I did always want to have a business of my own. I think that was something like I knew that I wanted to do, just because of being around with my dad and like seeing what he does, and he always took us with him when he would go to work. So I saw a lot. I learned a lot from him as well. Outside of that, I think the only thing that I really explored or really wanted to do was art, and I did, but I just couldn't see myself being an artist full time or making a living off of it. You know, not in the way I understood it then. I feel like now I have a very different understanding of how I could make a living off of something that's a skill or something that I really enjoy and love doing. But at the time, being an artist in Ireland meant not having money, living off the government, and hoping to catch a break, and having to network your way to being perceived as somebody of value in the community. You know, you don't put art is basically people's opinion, and whether they think they like your work or they don't like your work, and that's how it works. So
sure. Yeah. That's why you decided to take a degree in fine art, because you had interest. What made you decide on taking?
I just really enjoyed
fine art.
My art classes, drawing, painting. Okay. It was something I felt I was good at. I loved colors, just how I worked and how I enjoyed my classes. It was something that I was good at and enjoyed doing. And
used to also come up with ideas and
creative thinking
for your dad's businesses, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that creative flair or that learning that I have really helped me in coming up with concepts and developing different ideas.
This was at what age?
I guess I only really started working with my dad when I moved here for those things, like when I was 25, I would say 23, 24, 25. Before that, I started a jewelry business when I was in Ireland as soon as I graduated. Yeah, Starlet Jewelry. People would call me Starlet anytime they would meet me, because that was like the name that they knew. So they actually thought my name was Starlet as well. It was really funny.
So this was straight after uni?
Yeah, I graduated and I was like, business. I don't want to try to be an artist or be an artist and paint every day. So let me start something. So I saw something, got inspired, and then started a jewelry business, and then just kept working on that.
And in a very short span of time, you had a huge success and having 18,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah, I thought that was great for them.
Sponsoring national campaigns like Miss Ireland.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. Like I got some great opportunities.
Like at that age, you're like mid-20s or early 20s? I think
21, 22, yeah.
So at 21 or 22, how did you feel like, having a business that you just start up, reach those heights? Like,
I wouldn't even say it reached those heights. I think like there was so much more that could have been done, but I had created some great opportunities for myself, considering my environment and everything else. Like, and I set up quite a lot of good things, but I learned a lot in that short space of time. I was doing a lot by myself. Kind of, if you look at it now, I think I made the similar mistakes now that I did back then, which was trying to do too many things alone. And yeah, it felt great, but it also felt lonely. Like, I think sometimes it's nice to have someone to bounce ideas off in a creative space. I still find that now. I think that's why things worked really well with myself and my dad, is because, you know, it was like I was fulfilling, there was like a back and forth, you know, that invisible support that's always there, even if it's just to like bounce an idea off. I noticed that about myself, as I like doing things with people, but I also like being the leader. So how did I feel? I felt empowered. I felt like I was really doing something for myself, and I was just really enjoying learning. Like,
you remember your thoughts when you first started the business? Because this is your first ever business, right?
Yeah, I think this was one of my thoughts then, if you're talking about myself, was that I can do it. I can definitely do it. I just have to figure out how. And I think that's a mentality that I've kind of always had with approaching anything. And I was recently saying to my husband, I was like, I remember saying this to myself even when I first got to Dubai. If you asked me anything about me, and someone would be like, oh no, you can't do that, I was like, I definitely can. Like, that's how much I believed in myself, is that I can do anything. I believe we can all do anything that we put our mind to, as long as we actually believe that. I don't feel like there's something that you can't do. If you want to, you can always figure out a way. Just have to put the steps in place, keep moving, and then do it. Yeah.
How old were you, let's say, in your first job ever?
In my first job? My first job, I think I was 14.
14? What were you doing?
Maybe younger. I don't know if you count my dad as a job. All my dad's businesses, but I was working within.
What were you doing?
Waitressing. We did waitressing, receptionist, and we also worked in an accounting, KPMG. Went in there for like 3 months and just did filing and simple, basic, like internship type work for like a couple months.
Was that was your parents' idea, or?
That one, my dad, I think he set it up, but it was something we wanted to do. We wanted to try something different other than his restaurants.
Okay. Why? So was it a standard thing, like during summer you guys work?
Yeah, pretty much always worked in summer. We wanted money, you know, so go and work and get it, put it in our pocket. My dad was never the best at giving pocket money. So we always were allocated a certain amount of pocket money, but to get it from him was a bit difficult. Sometimes like a few weeks could pile up and you'd be waiting. But when it came to him spending on us, we didn't have an issue. So it was like, hey, I want this. He would be cool with that. But then to get your pocket money was like a whole different thing. It was a really interesting dynamic.
How do you feel that impacted you?
The money?
Yeah, that you're not always able to get pocket money.
I don't think that was a good thing. I think that you should get what you deserve or what you're promised. I feel like mindset building, like if you really go back and realize what it's teaching you is, it's teaching you that you don't, people don't fulfill their promises, or it can teach you that there's some reason unknown that you don't receive what you deserve. Or
from his side, like, what do you feel? Why was he doing that?
I think it had nothing to do with us. I don't think there was any message. It was just how he works with money and how he works with people he gives it to. He's very much so of like, you're my family, so you're looked after anyway. You don't really need the money. And he's using the money to build the business, right? He's always reinvesting. So that's why I'm saying it. If we ever needed something, even if it was just wanted something, he was free to give it to us. Loved doing it, didn't have a problem. But when it was handing over the money, he was more reluctant because he wanted to use, I think he wanted to use that cash for his business. or keep the cash flow or do all these different things. And I don't think there was any intention related to us, but we perceive things differently, right? And that's what forms us. So.
And how long did you do Starlet before you moved to your next?
I was still doing Starlet before I came here. So when I would come here for the summers, my dad had already set up a couple of businesses here, and then he'd already opened, I think, 2 hotels. And then when he opened, there was Grand Midwest on Sheikh Zayed Road. It was like 225 hotel apartment rooms and a 4-star. So it was huge. And then he asked me to work with him there. Every time I come over, like, you'd always be roped into some kind of work. My dad, if you wanted a relationship with my dad, it was connected to work. You have to work together. So if you wanted to work, cool. So I was always ready to work. So I'd help him out. And so I still had my jewelry business in Ireland. I would help him out over the summer, would do things like marketing and different stuff. And then when I decided to move over here, because I saw there was opportunity to just have a different life. I mean, there wasn't that much going on in Ireland. I thought I could do my jewelry business here, and I could also work with my dad. So I still had things going when I moved here. But working with the family business, massive big hotel, there was so much to do with my dad that it just got roped into working in the hotel, and slowly forgot about doing the jewelry business. And then with time, stopped paying attention to the business in Ireland and just had to wind things up because you can't manage it from here.
And what was it like? Because you worked at the Grand Midwest as the GM there.
Yeah.
What was that like in comparison to your previous experiences?
I didn't have experience working as a GM. So like I was completely privileged to be put in that position, but it took time. So I started off working on launching the Dubai's first dry nightclub for youths in this country, also for women, for anyone who would want to have a party and have a space that's alcohol free. So I was launching that, then built a marketing team for the hotel, just giving advice of where my dad could, like, you know, tweak things, improve, working on those things. And then from giving good advice and things working out well, and he saw what I was able to achieve, then he just kept giving me more responsibility. So more responsibility then turned into being the operations, and then slowly being like his shadow / right hand, taking care of a lot of his personal things, and then understanding the business. And then slowly, GM, like, you're responsible, you're doing the daily briefings, you're doing the meetings, you need to check up on everything that's going on, you have permission to change whatever it is that you need. Like, I was handling it all then. So it was a slow transition, but a really good one, and definitely out of my depth in some spaces, because, you know, you're 25, 26, working with people who have been working in the industry for a long time, who are much older than you as well. And they're like, oh, who's this girl who's daddy's daughter who just comes in and thinks that she can boss everyone around?
Right.
And obviously not having managerial
background
skills. I would definitely say I had a harsh, like a very strict managerial skill, but that's not necessarily the best type. You know, you should be far more flexible, and different ways work for different people. I wouldn't say personally that I was the best manager for all the different types, but I did the best I could. So yeah, it was challenging walking into a room where people were looking at you as in, like, who's this kid? And, you know, asking them to do things. I was just really persistent. I had goals that I wanted to achieve, and I had things that I wanted done. So as long as I was just always asking, like, is it done? Is it done? Follow up, consistency, persistence, and just maintaining, like, following my plan and going forward. So if I did have anyone that was a bit difficult, maybe I would sit down and talk, but they weren't that difficult. I just think that they weren't necessarily giving me their 100%. But also when they saw a lot of things starting to change, and like positive influences, they started to ease up. They would, you know, deliver a little bit more. Yeah, working with you on a much closer basis. So yeah, it wasn't that hard.
And then by 2018, that's when you moved back to Ireland?
I never moved back. I've been here the whole time.
Okay, so when
My dad moved back.
okay,
Yeah,
in
and the
2018,
businesses.
yeah, the
So
Philly's
what happened?
Kitchen and
Yeah, so I got
Skydeck.
married 2017. So, and I'm married in Emirati. At the end of the day, you're never going to leave. So, so the family businesses left Dubai and moved to Ireland, and I would work from here and there
Okay.
on all of the concepts. So like I would travel back and forth a lot. There was a lot that I could do from here as well. A lot of it like in planning and concept development stages. So when I would need to go and open up, like we opened Philly's Kitchen, we opened it in a mall.
Was that a franchise or is it you guys started it up? Okay.
Yeah, it was an idea that my brother had,
Nice.
and then I got involved, and then tweaked it a bit, and then developed it more, and then it became like a completely different thing. So and then we launched it in the malls, and it was going well. So for that, I traveled back when we were actually doing like fit out, installation, designs, like making the real thing come to life, training the staff, hiring the staff, and doing the whole thing, and then operations for a while. And then, once you kind of get it ready to go and it's all turnkey, everyone else can just continue on. And then they managed it.
And then during COVID, that's when came up with a juicy concept called Drip Burger.
Yeah. So we were still working on a lot of like really interesting projects in Ireland at the same time, which to be honest, I'm so sad it didn't happen in the end. But like one was P.F. Chang's was supposed to open in Ireland. We'd taken the franchise for Ireland. And another one was like a really amazing concept in the city centre. And then when things, it was like 4 different dining concepts on the roof, the tallest building in Dublin city centre is like the old central bank. Is really
Nice.
amazing. And then everything just stopped, and Ireland was one of the quite like the most closed countries, so nothing was happening, especially in F&B. And I just didn't know what I was going to do now, because I was sitting around waiting for things to open, waiting for projects to start. And at the time I was traveling with a friend of mine and back and forth to Bali. We wanted to start something in Bali. And we had everything ready as well, but Bali, we just came back from Bali, February 2020, right? And then everything closed March. So we just came back and we were ready to like get things rolling over there.
And you guys were here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're sitting here. Yeah. We're like, doors closed, everything's done. Okay. And nobody knew what was going to happen with COVID. COVID just kept unfolding. And so like our late nights of working on stuff for Ireland and doing all this extra stuff for our business separately. And we're like, what do we do now? And I said, listen, I've been having a thought. I've been looking to open Philly's Kitchen in Dubai. But I'm not sure I want to open that here. Why don't we do something else that's kind of like came to me in the meantime? Why don't we work on a concept called Drip? And it's something that I know. It's F&B. I think it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's just start. So, so it just started from there. It started in COVID.
But you in particular, like when it comes to burgers, it's not you hopping on a trend. It's more of following a family legacy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's hopping on a trend. Like, I mean, burgers are really popular, but I think
Because your father had a burger joint.
He had a burger chain, yeah. I made that link. It wasn't that long ago that I realized. I was like, oh, wow. When I think about it, he started with burgers as well, like apart from the clothing business. Yeah. Which was a very short stint, burgers.
Which, what caught my attention, I was like, usually, let's say if you're Pakistani or you're Indian, you would start up a restaurant selling biryani or food that you know.
Mm-hmm. True.
You wouldn't go to a food that you don't know about.
Yeah.
So what made him start a burger joint?
My dad is a jack of all trades. Like, he will start anything, like no fear. I think all the businesses he started, he didn't have a clue. Like, there was no experience. There was no years of experience. He just went for it. He sees opportunities and he takes them. And then he
before,
just figures it out.
Like Ireland, was that where he started his first business?
Burgers he started, yeah. But he didn't have any experience in burgers, I think.
But he had experience in business?
Okay, so this is the only experience I could say he had. It was very short. He was 16. He was in London. He was studying to be a civil engineer. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. While he was studying to be a civil engineer, he was getting side jobs. And one of the places he worked was Huckleberry Finn's, which is a fast food place. He worked like just a normal employee, then floor supervisor, then next position, all of a sudden he was managing the place. And that's in a very short space of time. Somehow he decided he's just business minded or wanted to do things for himself just the way he is. He decided, I want to do something myself. And that's where the clothing business started, I think, in London. And he really quickly stopped his degree and never even finished it. So that went to the side, and then he moved to Ireland. And then I think maybe from the experience of Huckleberry Finn's, okay, I can do burgers. Came to Ireland, saw lots of opportunity. Nobody's doing it here. Go. From one restaurant on a main street
days,
to
there
12.
was not much burger.
There was. We opened right beside Burger King. But he just saw opportunities. Like he knew how to make money, understand how things work.
In terms of marketing, that is the right thing to do. Like
open right beside it on one of the busiest streets, got good rent, negotiated deals. My dad can make something from nothing. You know, he's really amazing.
What do you feel his, I mean, it's hard to speak for a person, but what is he driven by?
Money. I know that's the only reason I say that is because growing up as a kid, I heard it a lot. He would say, money is everything. I say it's not everything, but it's the base of everything that you need to do. It gives you freedom in life. It gives you peace of mind. You can, with wealth, you can share, you can do so much, but without it, you're stuck in a lot of ways. So it gives you that freedom.
And he doesn't want to be stuck.
No. So yeah.
Okay, this is a very open-ended question,
Sure.
but what do you feel he taught you in terms of business? What are the things like he constantly tried to, instill in you in terms of what is business? What are the values, ethics?
I think he didn't really teach with lessons, like acknowledge and teach, but he taught through experience and having you around. And I think with that, it's like grabbing opportunities, confidence. Oh, now you're making me realize a few things. Self-confidence, believing in yourself, and selling yourself as well. So selling your ideas, selling your you as a person, selling yourself to show what you can do. Like, it's not an easy task. Like, I see so many people, like, they're all starting businesses and they want to raise investments, for as an example, and you want to secure some money, and people don't invest in your business plan. They invest in people, because if they don't have the confidence in you that you are the one that can achieve it, it's risky, right? So he always was able to sell himself and sell that confidence, like belief in yourself that you can do it. And that was like key to everything, Other things that he probably taught, perseverance, just keep on going, and no fear. Like, I definitely saw that he just doesn't have fear when he does something. My dad will just do. And then...
I mean, of course, he is human.
Yeah.
So he has fear. But how
I'm
do you
sure.
feel he deals with that fear?
I never saw it.
Wow.
I'm serious. Like, my dad doesn't express fear or worry. Like, I don't think I ever heard him say, I don't know if that will work, or I'm not sure, or I didn't hear these conversations. It was like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Just go. And when you talk about mindset, that's exactly how it should be. Because if you let your fears catch up with you, they hold you back and they blind you. So keep yourself busy in the doing, and just be smart about it, and make sure that you are able to maneuver, change, chop, understand. Like, for example, the creative thinking is really important here, like solutions. So if that doesn't work, okay, well, what else can you do? It's not a chop, it's not a roadblock. There's so many other options.
Adapt.
Yeah, just adapt. Adaptability is huge. Like I said, he started businesses that he didn't have any experience in. I'll go through the list of businesses, okay? Because it's really interesting. Women's fashion.
Yeah, that was like...
Yeah, starting point. after that. Like I wanted to do this for a while for my dad, is just put his whole history together, because it's just crazy and amazing. So clothing business, burger restaurants, right? Fast food, 12. Then steakhouse, okay? Which is, yeah. So, I mean, it's still an F&B. Steakhouses, Indian restaurants, 2 of them award-winning. Then the biggest Indian restaurant in Ireland, 150-seater. Then after that, a hotel. After a hotel there, then Dubai. And in Dubai, real estate. Real estate, some issues with the partners there. There's some really more like juicy stories in between. Then real estate to hotel, and hotel apartments. So 1 hotel to 5 hotel apartments. Within 5 hotel apartments, you have towers, so there's like so many other businesses in between that. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't necessarily see the correlation from
women's
from
clothing.
burgers and F&B to hotels. Usually it's like hotels and you understand F&B, but he just jumps. He sees an opportunity. I don't understand necessarily real estate from F&B, but real estate, and then maybe hospitality can come from that. He just jumped.
Yeah, you mentioned about, seeing an opportunity or capturing opportunity.
Yeah.
Give me an example. Like, what does it mean, capturing an opportunity?
Seeing where, so he is, well, for me.
Yeah, first of all, you're right.
Yeah.
It's to see it.
Yes, it's to see it. Not a lot of people see it.
Yes.
Yeah, but then action. So a lot of people see, but don't act, right? So it's just, oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Lots of ideas.
Yes.
No action. An idea that you think is worth it. You really see an opportunity, then you roll and you make it happen. Yeah.
All right. Now, I really wanted to, just clear that part out to understand his mindset, because I'm sure a lot of yours was,
comes from it. Yeah.
Comes from it. And from your mom's side, what are the values you feel she instilled in you?
Some of the opposites of what I learned from my dad. So that's the conflicting part in me, which I've had some struggles with. So, but we'll go with the positive ones, which are money is not everything. So it's just about relationships and people. And I would say spirituality, extremely important. She's an extremely spiritual person. Everything is about love. Everything is about caring. Everything is about being there for you as a nurturer, as people, and also independence. It's a really important one. In a similar way, like financial independence. So if you have your own money, you're not stuck to your dad, for example. Like nobody controls your life. You control your life. And putting yourself first. She always said, like, do what you want to do. Understand who you are, what you want, and how you see things. So anything that we wanted, she was always supportive, no matter what. And unconditional love. So no matter what, she was always going to be there. Those are like really important lessons that I learned from her.
Amazing. Going back to Drip Burger, so you started it with your friend.
Yeah, Jamila.
What is it like working with your friend? Is that like the first project you guys work on together?
Yeah, very tough on so many levels.
Can imagine.
Actually, like it really hurt our relationship for a good bit. So many reasons why. There was so much expectation as friends from each other in the first place, and then there was also expectations within work. And I think while I think we would have gotten over a lot of things in work eventually, there were also like financial strains on her at the time, which didn't allow us to do as well as we'd wanted, or actually to work freely. I think anyone who's under financial stress, it completely changes like your priorities. So that was an issue. And then I was pregnant at the time. So I wasn't I wasn't able to be present in the business. And how we came together, just there was like that little bit of unfair, who's doing what, and is it fair, and are we doing the right thing, and can we support each other, and can we work through it? And I think I learned a lot of lessons on the other side, which is like, everything before was always like business minded. I don't think I understood how to bring together like the outside. Like, do you care for people more, or do you care for the business more? Because you're putting so much on the table in terms of when it comes to the business side. Like I always say, like, keep it separate. And it is good to keep it separate, but when there's friendship involved, it's harder to keep it separate. So how do you manage your relationship and keep it separate from the business and not tie the two together?
How do you do that?
Yeah, how do you do that?
Because you mentioned expectations. I don't think there's anything wrong with expectations. I think the issue comes there is the communication part.
Yeah, but you are not
maybe
responsible for both sides of the communication, right? So you can only do your part. And even if you're, like, let's say you're 100% able to be transparent, the other person may not be able to. There's so many other things going on, and like how to understand that person, and is it fear? Are there things behind what they're saying? Are they truly capable of saying what they actually really feel or mean? That's like a whole other thing. So yeah, we struggled to make it work, like because what it came down to was, I was just recently gave birth and wasn't able to give my time, and she needed money, which she couldn't take out of a newly set up business and growing business, and also I think didn't want to. So how can she put in her time and look after the business? And also, if I'm not there, how can she do it alone? Because I'm coming from experience, right? And she's not coming from experience. So she also didn't feel it was fair for me to expect that from her. I wouldn't say I expected it from her to be able to do both. I understand her financial situation, but it just didn't work, right? There were two things happening at the same time that were really strenuous for the business. So we had to like make a decision. Either there had to be a sacrifice somewhere. That's it, like compromise.
Yeah,
doesn't always work out in your favor or either party's favor. Yeah,
I hear it even with other friends who they have businesses together. Like, not everyone will be giving 100% throughout.
Yes, it will chop and it will change, and
yes,
people will be and
there'll be one day.
Yeah.
This phase rather, this person is the one who is more available.
Yeah,
and then it keeps changing.
Yeah.
And that has to be fairly understood, between them. But despite the challenges, now Drip Burger, you guys have 2-3 branches. What?
We have 2, so we're like more like a pop-up. It fluctuates and changes actually. Like for a while I had 3, then I closed one in one location, opened a pop-up here. Now I'm going to open something in downtown. Like it's a moving business because I still feel like I'm still learning a lot with my team, with the industry. And I also feel like burgers is not 100% what I want to do, me. It's limited in what you can do with it. Like, even if I can dream the biggest dream, okay, it can be like an international franchise. But in terms of like what it's doing and giving, it's like, it's limited. It's burgers, you can only do so much with how exciting a burger can be, even if you change recipes. So for me, I'll, for the business and going forward, definitely looking into combining all of my learnings and my education in F&B to do other concepts and to put other things out there, not just burgers. So how I'm developing our team is to do a lot more things. Like, we do events, we do catering, we do burgers, but we are developing a few other concepts around it, including maybe like a breakfast and lunch restaurant, that type of thing.
What is it called? You mentioned, I think it was on the caterer, that you running the jewelry business taught you how to take charge of situations when you got in the F&B business. How so?
I mean, I had to do like, so everything for the jewelry business was 100% like pushed by me, right? So if there was going to be an opportunity, I needed to create the opportunity, right? So I learned like a lot of really good business mindset methods from doing that by myself that I applied here. Same kind of mentality. Anything you want, you go out and get it. So while I was struggling with drip for quite some time, I was like, okay, well, I wasn't ready to give up, and I needed to go and find different ways, be creative about what I'm doing. It's not just burgers, you know. Go and find people that I can speak to. Go and find experts in the field, in the market. Talk to them. Look for support in a community. I built a few communities. I'm still building communities. Just a support network and a group. And with the challenges that I faced and finding that I was completely like alone in an F&B space in this country, because it's different doing food over there and having built up a whole network and learning and then doing it here. Completely different fields. Doing it here, I felt like I was like a fish out of water. And when I started, I didn't know anybody. So when I meet somebody who needs that bit of guidance or a little bit of help, I always invite them to like connect them. So I always try to give back by creating a space for people to also be a part of a community or connect people, and networking is really important for me. So I always try to put 2 and 2 together whenever I see that for somebody else and make that extra effort.
What is it called? Running multiple business sounds nice, but it can lead to burnout. Did you ever go through a burnout?
Definitely, multiple times, but mental burnout, where you're just like tired and give up, did that twice with the drip.
And then how did you deal with it?
Everything is just go and work on yourself. There is no other way, because at the end of the day, the reason you don't have any more to give is because you haven't given anything to yourself. You gave everything to the business. Fill up your cup. So I put so much into like work, and I forgot about Nadia. Nadia's drained. Nadia's tired. Nadia didn't like, I'm very active person. So when I'm not active, like you underestimate how much sports and physical activity and really develops your mind and training and the strength that you have. So I even gave up a lot of my physical activity. So my mind was just depleting. And I think once you get into a cycle, you just roll into it. And reminding myself to come back out of that. And also God, like I always pull on my faith, because at the end of the day, that is the center of a person that always pulls you back and reminds you why you have to care, why you have to keep going, why to see the beauty in even the small things, even if it's like such a small detail that went well, appreciate it, and then like grow your mentality back that way, and then slowly do and put things back into practice. But just nurture yourself, and that started with my mental space, my mental health, my heart, everything. Really important.
All right, we got to the end of this episode, and I got to ask you the question of the show.
Okay.
Yeah, in your opinion, what is the high performance mindset?
High performance mindset. To perform highly, always.
Yeah, what's the mindset required for you to be able to perform highly?
You have to believe in
consistently,
yourself.
Not like just a...
Yeah. You have to believe in yourself, that anything is possible. So without the real belief, and if you don't have that belief, you need to keep working on that belief. So, and working on yourself. Every opportunity that you have.
How do you build that belief if you don't have?
You tell yourself. You put things in place to believe it. If it can be affirmations, it can be meditation, it can be prayer, but you have to really tell yourself. If you tell yourself every day, I'm a failure, even if you're not, like you could be the most successful person in the world.
Yeah.
If you actually decide to tell yourself every day, I'm a failure, watch that person sink. It's crazy, right? So it's really putting like all the...
So what should you tell yourself?
That you're amazing. God made you. I mean, we're a piece of God, you know, at the end of the day. Like, if God believes in us that much, And if you're a person of faith, then why would you not believe that you're so amazing and just maybe haven't reached that full potential? You know, there, it's absolutely there. The world is open. Life is open to every single possibility. Like, it's infinite what we can achieve in this world. Like, maybe your surroundings limits it, but you have to break from your surroundings. And every single individual human being that God put on this earth is capable of the same. There is not one better than another. We're all equal as well, right? So I think when you really go back to your faith, is a good place to look for inspiration on how to deal with difficult situations. But the mindset comes from belief in yourself and doing work on it. And there's, I mean, I can give you like a list of things that you can do, but you really have to reinforce that mindset all the time. And that comes into how you deal with people, how you talk to people, how you talk to yourself, how you re-energize yourself, how you nourish the parts of you. Like, you can't be work all the time. You have to have balance, you know. If you're 24/7 work, unless that happens to be what you love, then, you know, you need the other side of balance in your life, where you have time for Nadia. Who is she? What are the other things that she loves? What are the other things that she cares about? Who are the people in her life who are nourishing and supporting her? So everything should be set up to reinforce that same thing, that you're amazing. You can do everything that you anything that you put your mind to.
Love it.
Okay.
Absolutely agree with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for today.
No worries.